Hey, how are you tonight? I'm Roberta Colasino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. I come to you every Wednesday night, typically at 7 o'clock, so I appreciate the fact that you hopefully won't be too upset that I was an hour late. I didn't get home until very close to 7 o'clock, so I'm very glad that I changed the time. I come to you with a free stamping class, typically cards, sometimes some other things. Tonight, I think we're just going to have time to make 2 cards before I have something else that I have to do. All right, and I also have some news to share with you, so that will take up a little bit of time as well. So thank you for joining me tonight, and thank you for catching me on the replay if that's what you do. I have no idea still exactly what happened last week, but I finally found the video. I think it appeared in my story. Hi, Mimi, how are you? It's been a while since I've seen you. I think it somehow appeared either in my story or in a reel or something, and the only way I found it was because some people commented on it, and that came up as a notification, and then that allowed me to see the post and allowed me to copy it and put it onto the group. Just not sure what I did. I'm guessing I hit something I didn't think I hit. I don't know, but it's technology, so what can you say, right? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down so we can get started. Oh, there's the ceiling again. Okay, there we go. So I've put this little calendar down here. It's my daily calendar that was given to me by a good friend and a classroom helper in my room. And I decided it gets a little confusing sometimes because now that I'm transferring all my videos over to YouTube, they have not transferred over in order necessarily. And then because of because of Facebook deleting videos, there are weeks missing, months missing, in a couple of cases there's even a year missing. It's very disconcerting, but I'm dealing with it. But now it shows the date that I transferred it there, but that's not the date that I made it. So I thought I would try to do something with letting not just you, but me see the date that a video was recorded. So when I transfer this over, that will be one of the first things that shows up. That's what I'm trying. I don't know if it'll work. So today is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. I hope we all know what year it is, but you never know. Okay, so I am Roberta Colasino, and the name of my business is 11 Lakes Stamper. And this group is called 11 Lakes Stamper Creatives. It used to be called, what did it used to be called? Something Roberta Creatives. I don't even know what it used to be called anymore. So that's good, I guess, that I can't remember. And you can find me now on YouTube under the name 11 Lakes Stamper as well. And you can shop with me at www.rcolasino.stampinup.net. And you can contact me at 11lakestamper@gmail. So the idea is that now everything has that 11 Lakes name on it, other than the shopping, because I have not yet established my own website. And I just, to be honest with you, don't know if that's ever going to happen because I don't want to do it if I can't do it right. And I'm just not sure that I have the time to maintain a blog and a website. But we will see what happens. This is my daily creative prompts calendar, which is something I put out usually around the 1st of every month. And the purpose of this calendar basically is just to give you some ideas. As I've said before, there's absolutely no need to even attempt to follow this calendar as a calendar. Basically just look for it for ideas, and the only thing that you can actively participate in and win a prize is doing one of the pink challenges. I guess we'll just call them that. So if you do one of those and post a picture of what you made in this group, I will send you a gift. All right, so some people don't like change. Change can be difficult for a lot of us. And Stampin' Up! Is making some changes, and some of them sound like they're necessary, and as a result, I've just decided to kind of go with the flow and not be concerned about the changes. So one of the things that's happening is that starting November 2025, online exclusives, we're only talking about the online exclusives for the moment, all the new stamps that come out in November and beyond will be photopolymer, no more red rubber. So these are examples of our red rubber stamps. They're called the cling stamps, and they're the ones that go on our blocks, and they are red, and then they have this kind of foamy stuff underneath, for lack of a better word. And the photopolymer stamps are the clear stamps that you can see through, and they don't have any rubber. I wanted to clarify too, because years ago they used to call these red rubber stamps clear mount stamps, which seemed kind of confusing because they weren't clear. I also wanted to let you know that when you buy stamps that look like this from other companies, in particular companies like Temu, however you say it, and Wish and whatever, they are not made out of photopolymer. Photopolymer is a high quality product. They are often made out of plastic, and sometimes I've seen people posting saying that their stamps ripped when they took them off the block, or that they would bend, or that something happened to them if they were in a warm room or whatever. That will not happen with photopolymer stamps. So just because we're going away from the red rubber stamps doesn't mean we're going to a lower quality stamp, because ours are still a higher quality than those other ones, and I'm not just making that up, okay? All right, so the September to December 2025 mini catalog, which comes out really in just days, I think it is September 3rd it comes out, that will be the last printed catalog to have red rubber stamps in them. All right, and the last online exclusive to include any cling stamps will be in September of 2025. As far as the mini catalogs go, in December of 2025, all cling stamps in the September to December mini catalog will automatically move to the last chance products list. So that means you won't hear me saying this stamp set from the mini catalog is carrying over to the new catalog. Nothing will be carrying over, which means nothing to you, because you folks just buy everything that you like. It's a little bit tougher on us demonstrators, because we hope that stamps will carry over so that we don't have to buy as many new stamps the following year, or at least some of us do. Some of the demonstrators just buy it all. So that's a change for us as well, and that's probably what some of the demonstrators aren't happy with. A lot of us really do prefer the cling stamps for a number of reasons, but I'm finding that I'm getting used to the photopolymer stamps, and they're working just fine. Let's see, in April of 2026, all cling stamps from the 2025-2026 catalog will also move to the last chance list, because none of those will carry over to the new catalog. As far as online exclusives go, cling stamps released in online exclusives through September 2025 will be supported based on demand. So in other words, they'll keep making them. They have some product left, and they're using it cautiously, but they're having a harder and harder time getting what they need to make these stamps. And when they can't get what they need to make these stamps, unfortunately, that means delays for you and delays for us. And that causes problems. That upsets people and stresses out the demonstrators quite a bit as well. All right, so they will be supported based on demand until April 2026 at the latest. Some will probably be discontinued prior to that, however. And the final transition in April 2026, all remaining cling stamps across all of our offerings will move to the last chance products list and be available while supplies last. All right. The other thing that's happening, and some people use these a lot, to be honest with you, I don't use them a lot, I have very few of them, is that the Stampin' Right markers are being discontinued and will be available while supplies last starting today. All right, while supplies last. So a lot of people like the Stampin' Right markers. I'm looking to see where mine are because they're here somewhere, but no matter, because you can color on the stamps. I believe that part of the reason they're going away is because they do seem to work a little bit better on the red rubber than they do on the photopolymer, and so they're going away. If it turns out that that's not the reason, and I find out what the reason is, I will surely let you know. All right, so they'll be phasing those out. Packaging, and this to me is kind of a good thing. So right now we have two kinds of packaging. We have die packaging, which are these envelopes, just kind of like a folder envelope, and then we have stamp packaging. And a lot of our packaging got smaller when we did away with the wood block stamps. So now we're doing away with these cases as well, these stamp cases. And all of the new stamps, because they're photopolymer and they don't take up as much room, will be in these envelopes. So the only disadvantage I see to that Advantage, it'll take up less space. Disadvantage, one of my team members made me think of it this morning, is that we may store our stamps on a bookcase, in which case we're looking at it just like we look at books on a bookshelf to see the title. So we'd have to find another way of easily and quickly finding our stamps. So that transition will be happening as well. And I'm trying to remember, when is that going to happen? I took some notes. So they're slimmer and they're sleeker. They make traveling easier. If you're a person who travels with your stuff, they'll take up less room for sure. The die packaging will still feature printed artwork for quick and easy identification. And the stamp packaging will continue to display artwork as well. I'm not sure. Transitioning for photopolymer stamps released prior to 2025. No, that's not about the packaging. So I'm looking for a date, and so far I'm not seeing one. The new packaging is going to measure 5 5/8 inches by 9 inches, or 14.3 centimeters by 22.9 centimeters. So they'll basically come in the same size and style of packaging. As you saw last week with the dies that I used last week, the party banner dies, those were huge dies, and so they came in a larger package, and when they make dies like that, that might still continue to happen. Let's see. Yeah, all right. And they feel like their new packaging will fit in a number of organization systems. Height-wise, they will fit on the stamp and storage shelves the same way that the current stamp cases do. And I know that because I'm looking at mine, and I can tell that they will fit. If there's something extra large, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Okay, so here we go. The new Stampin' Up! Cases are starting in November. Coming in November. There we go. Okay. So the die cases, I guess, are going to be new as well. I don't know what exactly is going to be different about them. Maybe they're just going to be sized in such a way that they really will be standard. It looks like they are all going to be the same size. So there you go. All right. And, they even show us a little picture online about how much less space they're going to take up. And they're easy to open and close. Sometimes with the larger ones, the little closure tabs break on occasion. I have on occasion stepped on one and they crack. These cases, that won't happen. So that's a good thing. All right, we're going to try to put a positive swing on it and say that it's a good thing. Okay, so enough of that. As I hear more, I will certainly get back to you and let you know. So today we are going to use... what started me on what we were using today was some DSP that I bought because I just loved it. And that is the Everyday something. Hang on, I'm looking. The Everyday Happiness DSP set. So that is this DSP. And I feel like I showed this to you when I first got it, but perhaps not. But it's lovely, and the coordinating colors are Gray Granite, Lost Lagoon, Mossy Meadow, Pecan Pie, Pretty Peacock, Very Vanilla, and Wild Wheat. Now, Wild Wheat has since retired, so today I'm going to attempt to use Darling Duckling in place of Wild Wheat. They're not super similar, but they're not super different either. So it's just very pretty. It's very muted because even though I say Pretty Peacock, which is definitely not a muted color, here's the cardstock. It's definitely a deep color. Hang on. There we go. They have done it in muted tones. So I don't think you're going to see anything here except, well, these stripes here. But for the most part, excuse me, you are going to... Oh, no. I just dumped the inside of my card where I was storing all my pieces, and I'm hoping nothing landed on the floor. Anyway, so it's just very pretty, and I think of it being ideal for sympathy cards, being ideal for thinking of you cards, but certainly for wedding cards, shower cards, especially if anybody had any of these types of colors. So that's what prompted me to decide what I was going to do today. Then there's also a sticker sheet that's available that I think in a lot of ways was geared towards the scrapbooking. So there are border stickers at the top and at the bottom of this, and I actually cut just a little piece away on the top. Well, you can't see the whole thing here, but take my word for it. There's 2 more strips on the bottom. There we go. All right, so, but these could certainly be used, on cards as well. And I think I'm feeling like there might be an ephemera pack that matches this, but I couldn't find it today, so I'm not positive. I could be making that up. Just not 100% sure. So like I said, I decided on 2 cards today because initially I thought I would be coming to you at 7 o'clock, but then would have to rush to be someplace else later. And instead I had someplace else to go before also. So yeah. So card number 1, let's get to that. We are going to be using a lot of the photopolymer stamps in the Everyday You and Me set. Okay, very pretty set with some fairly bold, some very bold sentiments. Thank you. That's what I was, excuse me, trying to say. And possibly, again, these would be good for scrapbooking because bigger is better for scrapbooking. The colors that I think I'm using today, unless I suddenly change my mind, are Basic Gray, Darling Duckling, Old Olive, and Lost Lagoon. Okay? So, oh, this isn't the card. Okay, I have one card that I just have to put a shout out to the person who kind of inspired me. And now I'm afraid, oh, good grief. I took a picture of the card and I cut it out, and I think I might have cut her name out. I'll have to find it. Although her card, oh no, here it is. I'll get to it when we get to the next card. Just ignore me. All right, so we have a card base here of Pretty Peacock, which was an in color at one time, and I loved the color, so I was so happy when it came back. This will be for the inside. And then I used the banner, the, what the heck is it called? Oh my gosh. The banner dies. The party banner dies. Thank you. I used them, and this is like the 4th one down. I think there are 3 larger than that. And I used that DSP to cut out one of those banners. And I thought that would make a nice background. So instead of having a whole sheet of cardstock, we're just going to have the banner. All right. And then a piece, and I wasn't sure if which side I wanted to use. I wanted to put a piece kind of underneath, and that's not it. I think there's supposed to be a longer piece. Yeah, here we go. I wanted to put a piece underneath it, and I don't know. I feel like I like the other side. I wanted it to be considerably less busy than this banner is. And I purposely chose the smaller banner because I like Pretty Peacock so much. Hello, Nancy. How are you? Thank you for watching. So because I like it so much, I wanted more of it to show. And those are the decisions that we make when we're making cards, right? So I think I do want the yellow because there's just kind of too much of the bluish green. Yep, I think I do like that better. All right, so there we go. And this is actually the wild wheat as well, and it's just toned down wild wheat, whereas this is kind of full strength wild wheat. All right, and then I grabbed 2 of those. I just cut a snippet out of those, what I think are supposed to be borders for a scrapbook layout. And I just cut them both out kind of at the same time. So now I'm going to split them up. And what I want to do is do the little banner tip thing here. If you have the banner pick-a-punch, you could certainly do that with this. I think this is about 3/4 of an inch, and that's one of the sizes that the banner pick-a-patch will support. I think it's 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and 1 inch. And those pick-a-punches are just really kind of neat. I hope they continue coming out with those because I like them a lot. I also miss the label punch, not label punches. What are they called? Maybe it is label punches. You know, the ones that have the hole in the top and you can actually use it for a tag punch. That's what I think I'm trying to say. The tag punches. And I don't think we've had one in a little while. All right, so I've got those, and this I think is going to go on the inside, but I'll probably cut it down just a tad. All right, and then I have in my little dish here some of the flowers from the stamp set and some of the leaves from the stamp set. But I also have some that are that I thought I would use. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that, though, so maybe I'm not. If there was white here, I would stamp some and then put some on dimensionals over the top. But since I decided not to have white, I think I won't be doing that. What I did want to do, and I think I am going to need some Pretty Peacock for that, and I forgot to grab it. So here we go. Is I just wanted to do some stamping, and I would typically use like my speckles and whatnot, But this particular stamp set comes with some, they're little dots and things. At first I thought maybe they were meant to be, these small ones were meant to be the inside of the flowers, but I don't know, it just didn't seem that way. And I thought maybe I would put them all on one and just kind of try to do some background with that. But I also wanted to use this, and this is the one from the Elements of Text, and I just love this. I've used it in my journals. I use it in a lot of things. There are words that you can actually make out, although it doesn't seem to say a whole lot that makes sense, as far as I can tell. So you might want to be sure to get that right side up. All right, and I think I want to get that in there too, maybe somewhere down near the bottom, since I'm putting my banner a little bit higher up. So I'll just put that kind of a tiny bit more towards the middle. Okay, and it came out kind of funky, but that's actually okay. Most of it's not going to show anyway. I'm guessing that my Pretty Peacock needs a little re-inking, so I'll just do it one more time. Again, like I said, part of it's not going to show anyway, so I'm not worried about that. If you can see this, let me see if I can get you to see this. Do you see those sort of lines and little striations, or whatever you want to call them, on the pad? That's an indication that the pad is not only drying out, but may need like a little bit of a cleaning. And when that happens, sometimes what I do is I take what's called a water wipe. So it's not one of the baby wipes or wipes that has alcohol in it or lots of conditioners and stuff. It's basically water. There might be some glycerin in it, which I don't think will harm the ink pad, my opinion only. And I kind of wipe it off and then re-ink it, and that seems to bring it right back to life. So that's just a little hint. And then I thought, oh, I put that away too soon. I thought I would stamp some of these kind of around too, and I guess I don't really know how that's going to come out. I'm just honestly not sure. I tend to like sort of the larger splotches, and I'm just going to throw a couple on here too so I can kind of test and see what they look like. These two little pieces right here, for whatever reason, are not inking up super well. So I'm just going to do a better job of looking before I stamp. I'm also going to grab a piece of scrap paper. So you can see, looking at this scrap paper, that I did that thing I've told you about many times with the photopolymer stamps. There seems to be a belief among some demonstrators, and I'm starting to be a believer, that the photopolymer stamps might have some type of a film on them when they come from the manufacturing process. So we stamp them, and then we do a little smooshing, and then we re-ink them, and we do a little smooshing, and then after doing that 2 to 3 times, I get out my chamois and I clean it off. And that just seems to help with getting a much better image. And I believe I did that before, but maybe I didn't do it quite enough. All right, and then I just want to dry the stamp off a little bit. And I'm going to put this back up here. And it's really just, some people just go from the ink pad to the paper. It's never a bad idea to turn your stamp over and make sure that it really looks like it's inked. So I'm just going to do some where they might be going off a little bit. And I'll turn it around a little bit so it's not the same image every time. Not sure that I'm loving this as compared to the splotchy things that I typically use, but it's okay. It is all right. So get rid of the scrap paper, and now I can come in with this. And like I said, a good amount of that will be hidden anyway, so I think it's fine. I might not mind having a couple of just the little splotches down here, but I can add that later if I decide that's what I want to do. And this is the other side, which is really pretty too. I do love that our paper is two-sided. So much scrapbook paper that you buy is not two-sided. But then the problem is you have to make a choice. And then you see yourself putting glue on something as pretty as this, and you wish that you had more of it and that it wasn't double-sided so that you could use more of it and not have to make those tough decisions. I think I got a little clog going on here, nothing terrible, but it's definitely not coming out super well. Okay. And then, like I said, I'm going to put this a little bit more towards the top and try to center it. I usually have to hold it up to be able to tell if it's centered or not. I don't know if that's just a me thing, or if that, oh, and guess what I forgot to do? Hang on, quick, before the glue dries. No problem, okay. Shoo! I want to get that underneath. Glad I caught that, because once you press that down, it's pretty darn permanent. You can get it up, but it's not easy and it's not fun, and sometimes it's not pretty either. Okay, it's like when I forget to tie the string. Last week I forgot to tie the string around one of the cards that I was making, and I was really kind of annoyed at myself. I don't know if I even confessed to you guys that I forgot to tie the string or that I wanted to tie string, but I did forget and I wasn't too happy. All right, so now we'll just add a little more glue to this. I'm going to have to rotor this glue real quick. And I put the pin in and I just spin it around a few times and up and down a little bit. It's just like rotor. And then it's good as new. Now the other thing that sometimes with banner dies of any kind or banner punches of any kind, what I might do, I don't know if I'm going to do it here. This paper, it's funny because it's not textured, but it looks so textured that I keep like actually trying to feel the texture and it's not there. You could leave these bottoms just a tiny bit loose, not glue them down all the way, and just take your bone folder and do like just a little curly thing. Now, once it goes in the envelope, it'll kind of get flattened out anyway, but there might be a little bit of the curly left for people to see. It's worth a try. You just want to be careful not to catch it when you put it in the envelope. So you certainly might choose not to do that. I will understand if that's what happens. Okay, so now I've got these things here, and this might be a good time to tell you what sentiment I'm going to use, and it's a much, much bigger sentiment than I typically put on a card, but I still liked it. It says better together. So that would actually make a good wedding card, a good anniversary card for yourself or someone else. It would make a good what? What am I trying to say? It would make a good wedding card. I think I hit on that. Wedding, anniversary, shower. Okay. And maybe just for friends who hang out together, you know? Okay, so we already established that this pad needs a little help. So I'm going to really, really hope that I can just kind of keep going and get it inked up enough to work. So this is the other thing that I will confess about the photopolymer stamps that sometimes bugs me, is that you have to be really careful that you're not taking ink off as well as putting it on. And I'm not even sure that makes sense. But sometimes it looks like it's good and you give it one more pat just for the heck of it, and then all of a sudden what you notice is that some of the ink came back off again. Again, could just be me, could be my imagination, who knows. All right, so let's see how this is coming. I'm going to give it a really good press and give it some time for the ink to soak in. And then I have to start making, oh, that came out perfect. Okay, no complaints there. I was going to say I need to start making a basket to put ink pads in that need re-inking, because if I put them back on the shelf, then generally I don't remember which ones needed re-inking and which ones didn't. All right, so I was thinking, it's scary sometimes when I think, but I was thinking that it might be kind of cool to sort of fussy cut this. And I don't think I mean like all the way around every letter, but maybe just around like the better, instead of just making it just a plain old kind of boring rectangle. Go down and around. And I don't know, well, maybe I do want to kind of round it off a little bit. Just checking to make sure I wasn't smearing that, because sometimes these deeper, richer colors take a few more seconds to dry, and I have on occasion put my thumb in them. And that's really annoying too when that happens, because there's nobody to blame but yourself. All right, yeah, let's do this. I think I like it. Okay. So now I just need to sort of start building what I'm doing here. And I did not do a dry fit ahead of time. I had the idea in my head. I certainly don't want to put it down there, so I'm thinking it's really going to go here. And then I'm kind of thinking I'm thinking that these are supposed to be with the other card. That's what I'm thinking. The more I look at them, the more I think, why would I be putting stripes on top of stripes? And yeah, that just doesn't make too much sense. So I'm thinking, see, so here's the darling duckling and here's the wild wheat. They really are different. The wild wheat is kind of a goldish, brownish gold. I did not like it at first, and now I love it, and I'm sorry it went away. But the darling duckling is, at least, is not like bright yellow, so I think it works. That's what I'm going to say, and I don't know if I'm going to use all of these or not. I'm going to get some dimensionals out, some of the regular sized ones and some of the mini, and just play a little bit until I get what I think looks nice. All right, so let's, okay, we glued that down already. I think it's safe to glue this down unless I want to pop that up, so maybe let's wait. And then I'm thinking like some of these glued down, but these popped up on top of it, or a little bit of both, like maybe that one glued down and these popped up, and maybe some leaves. The leaves are old olive. Maybe some leaves underneath, sticking out a little bit. Let's do that. When I do the leaves sticking out, I like to just glue those onto the back and kind of get that over with, because then that becomes only one piece for me to deal with instead of two. If that sounds lazy, it's because it is. I can be lazy. Okay. I'm almost wishing I had cut out a bigger one, but a big one in yellow, but I really just can't do that at this point in time. Maybe one up and one down, like one behind and one popped up. I don't need to overdo it, I don't think. And maybe just a small leaf attached to this small yellow one, maybe. So we went from like 90-degree weather here and pretty much just sweltering all the time to today. I think the high was 61. And tonight's going down into the 50s, I believe. It's just interesting where we live, you know? Just very interesting. Okay, I think I'm going to do just the opposite of what I was thinking. I think I'm going to glue this down. And this is where you really just kind of have to make up your mind and stick with it, because if you don't, you're going to have to rip things up, and that's never good. And then this one popped up, and then maybe this one tucked under. No, I think I like this one on top too. So this one popped up, and that one popped up next to it. That's what I think. And if you're wondering why I have red lines through that, I got that idea from Kelly Atchison a long time ago. And what's interesting is that she doesn't do it anymore. But it's just a good way of seeing if you got the backings off of all of your dimensionals instead of sitting there touching them all, which probably just helps to make them a tiny bit less sticky. So I remember to do it sometimes, but not all the time. All right, I think I want that leaf going that way, because I think this leaf is going to go this way. So here what you need to do when you're overlapping like that is you need to use a combination of glue and dimensionals. So the glue sticks it to the level where it's starting out, and then the dimensionals will keep it raised up so that it's kind of even with the other one, the height of the other one. Okay. Got it, so a little bit's hanging over, and I really don't want that, so we're going to try to replace that. This stuff is so tiny. Okay, there we go. So now we're going to put that there, and then have these come over like that. And I think I like that. I could put maybe another leaf there, but I think it's fine. And then I have a few more to play with on another day. I think I will pop the sentiment up too. So you'll have to let me know what you think of the changes, if it really makes a big difference to you or not. To be honest, there was a time when you had a choice between ordering, well, at one point I think you had a choice between ordering the woodblock stamps or ordering the ones that I said they called the clear mount stamps. And then there have been just a small number of occasions where you could choose between photopolymer or cling. And then they just started making some in each, and that was it. Very little duplication. I think there might have been some fairly recently. So, I don't know how much it matters to people. If they have a definite preference, let me know if you do, if you're one of those people who really just loves the red rubber and that's really what you buy, or if you just buy what you like and however it comes, you deal with it. Okay, so there's that. And I think I do love the colors. I love Pretty Peacock. I love Lost Lagoon. I like any type of yellow, to be honest with you. But like I said, the Wild Wheat was kind of more of a goldish, maybe with some brown undertones. I don't know. But it was pretty. I liked it much better once I got used to it. So that's that. And then the inside, I even made that a little bit smaller. Instead of making it the usual 4 by 5 1/4, I made it 3 3/4 by 5, just so I could see more of the Pretty Peacock. Now we could use one of these and just glue that inside since I have it, or we could stamp. It almost doesn't matter. So let's use this as long as it's here. And that gives the inside just a touch of dimension as well. So I think I'm just going to keep it real simple. Well, no, I like 2 leaves. So let's do 2 leaves and 1 flower. And then I don't want to forget to put that strip on there, although, I did that backwards, didn't I? Although, with these there, maybe I don't need that. Let me think about that a second or two. So do we still want to put that there? I think I would still cut it down, and I have no idea where my mini trimmer is. I just don't think I want anything quite that fat for just a piece of trim, so we'll cut it down to 1/2 inch. And then I can save that for something. Well, gee whiz, there we go. Sometimes even having nails doesn't matter because you just can't get a grip on something. Hey Cheryl, how are you? I think you missed the part where I was at least attempting to explain all of the changes. And so far, I think I'm okay with the changes. I really do. I think I'll use the blue side this time. We'll just have to come up with a different way of categorizing our things. And I started playing with an idea today. I know people use a lot of those apps. I forget what they're all called, but that just seems like a lot of work, to be honest with you, to get all of that. If you had started doing it from day one, like when you bought your first stamps and kept doing it, it would be great. But when you have like thousands of them, it's probably not a lot of fun anymore to do that. All right, I won't put this up on dimensionals because it's going to be inside. So I am asking people just to let me know if you really have a preference, and I'll ask in my classes as well. And unfortunately, I don't know how much it matters to know how they feel about it, but at some point, maybe when some of these supply chain problems go away, they might go back to making some red rubber if there's really a screaming call for it, if people are really upset. I don't know. So far, it just seems to me very often that people just don't like change. And I used to be a person who hated change, and I'm just trying to get away from that, because you know what? I don't think there's any avoiding change, not ever. Every time you turn around, something in the world has changed. And if you can't adapt, well, take a look at evolution, right? If you can't adapt, you become extinct. And I don't want to become extinct. I mean, I don't want to live forever, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to be extinct. And what's the word I'm looking for? Where you just don't matter anymore. You know what I mean? Well, I can't think of the word right now, but I don't want to not matter. So let's just look at it that way. Okay, so there's card number 1, and I really do like that one a lot. I love these colors. All right, card number 2 is the one that I said I had some inspiration from someone. However, what I did was kind of quite different from what the other person did. And my card is not in my basket. That's a little scary. Oh, good grief, good grief. Oh, I also think I wanted to put a bow on that other card because I have two bows in here. I have a white bow and I have a linen thread bow. Where the heck is... Oh, okay, I see it. Never mind. Don't panic, Roberta. It's all good. All right, so I used the Everyday Arches dies, which I also used last week. And this time I also had to check, but as it turns out with the Everyday Arches dies, the largest one fits in the envelope. Whereas with the Party Banner dies, the largest one does not fit in the envelope. So I used a combination of the largest one, and then is it the very next largest one? I think it is. Okay, and then I did two things, one of which I wasn't too happy with, so we'll see if anybody has any thoughts on what they feel about what I did, or I may just go ahead and make both cards. So I wanted a top opening card, and when you're using the Everyday Arches dies or shape dies in general, basically what you have to do is put the die on your paper, and you need to have a piece of paper folded over, that's the right size for the die, and then you need to put the die down on it in such a way that the top part of the die is not actually touching or over the fold, so that when it cuts it, it will come out still folded. I also found out that because these dies have some stitching on them, which is like a form of embossing, once I ran this through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, this thing was sealed shut. Like you would have thought I had glued it shut. You could actually use that to make a pocket and it would stay shut. I had to really work at it and get a needle in here and then run the needle down to get it to open because it was just stuck shut from the embossing. So, but what I did first, before I did that one, was for some reason I had it in my head that I wanted it to go this way. And so I put the die through with this part not quite touching the top. So what happened is it creates just a little bit of a flat spot there where there is no embossing. And when I looked at it, I wasn't sure how I felt about that. I wasn't sure if I liked that or not. I think I got a little too close there. Maybe if I put my hand under it. There you go. So you see what I mean? So I wasn't sure about that. And these two were also stuck together. So I went ahead and did it the other way as well. But I still like the idea of the rounded part being the top of the card. So I wasn't sure. And then I used the smaller one, and since I ended up with two of these, I did two of these as well. So a demonstrator named Darla Watson, did a card very similar to this, only she used a hexagon die. And I don't remember what set that was from, but I know it's one that I never got. So she used a hexagon die, and I really like hexagons and octagons, so I don't know why I never got that, unless I literally just never noticed it. But I never got it. So I decided I would just kind of go ahead and make both. Might as well, as long as I've got them both out here, and then we can decide. She even used this side of the paper, and I did toy with using this paper here, but since I was using it on this card, I just decided to go with that. So I'm obviously I'm not using the same sentiment that she's using, and I'm doing some other things that are different. And she did use some of the stickers on her card, which I'm not going to do because I feel a need to save them, although I have no idea what I'm saving them for. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Yeah. I just have no idea what I'm saving them for, what I might use them for, and maybe I'll change my mind in a minute because I used up almost all of those cutout things that I just cut out, and I don't want to cut out anymore. So maybe I will do a little bit more like she did and use some of those because I don't do much scrapbooking, and I keep telling myself I need to. My children, and I use the word loosely, are 36 and 33. And so, honestly, if I haven't scrapbooked their childhood yet, I don't know. I started at one point and I got kind of done. And then I started to think, well, who gets this picture? At one time we got doubles of everything, but we gave all the doubles to my mother-in-law, and when she passed away, somebody might have tossed those pictures and I don't have them anymore. So I don't have doubles, to make an album for each of them, so I tried to mix it up, and then I started feeling bad, like, well, what if Mara really wants that picture? What if Matt really wants that picture? Then I decided I was just making myself crazy, and so I just stopped scrapbooking, and that solved the problem. Not necessarily the best way to solve the problem, but, it worked for me at the time. And my kids really do like looking through pictures. I don't think they want like 50 albums in their house. I have some friends who make tons and tons of scrapbooks, and each one of their kids may have 20, 30, 40 scrapbooks by the time it's all over. And kids today don't seem to collect things like that. I almost think my kids would maybe enjoy a couple of albums and then just a box full of pictures that they could haul out and look at when they wanted to. I don't know. I suppose I could ask them, but maybe I don't want to hear what they're going to say. I don't know. All right, let me find that sticker sheet again, because I think I will take some things from the sticker sheet. And the sentiment that I think I said I wanted to use was, I was really looking for something a little bit different. I didn't want to use that kind of snarky set that I may have showed you last week, just because I think this is too pretty to be snarky. Again, sometimes I get ideas like that in my head, and I have no idea if that really is true or makes sense. So I pulled out the Unbounded Love bundle, and I thought I'd grab something from that. There's a couple of new sentiment sets in the upcoming catalog, the mini, and in the upcoming online exclusives that look like things that I have to have. They're calling my name. So before I start deciding where everything's gonna go, I probably should decide, okay, I do need a card for someone who's going through a lot right now. 2 immediate family members are ill, and she herself is not feeling great. So maybe my heart goes out to you, which sounds a little bit like sympathy. I could try to find one that says I'm thinking of you, but my heart does go out to her, so I think I'm going to use that one. She's just going through more stuff than any one person really needs to go through. I hate trying to figure out which these stamps because they're upside down. So I kind of try to go by the shape. If anybody spots it before I do, please let me know. I see a couple that could be it. I think I see it. I see it. Okay. So just because you can see this one here, the photopolymer stamps do stain, not with the blues and the greens, but anything that has red in it. So if it's a purple that's really bluish, not so much, but if it's a red or a pink, they will stain. If you clean them right away, it's much better. This one obviously sat for quite a while. Maybe it was used at a class and got really inked up and then got put back in the case, and maybe I didn't get a chance to clean it off till the next time I used it. So that one is kind of stained forever. You do not want to, in my opinion, you do not want to use like the Stays-On cleaner on photopolymer stamps. I suppose if you did it like once in a blue moon, it would be okay. But on the whole, I would think it's not a good idea. Again, just my opinion. All right, so we're going to do this one. There are, by the way, some lovely dies that come with this particular set. And because I left the die cutting machine downstairs, I won't be using them. And I've already severely underused them, and that's kind of what I do sometimes. I buy things and then if I don't really remind myself that I have them, then they don't get used. Okay, so what color do we want to stamp with? I think I want to stick with the Pretty Peacock, and we'll just hope that this one stamps as nicely as the other one. Okay, that looks pretty good, pretty stamped up, pretty inked up, whatever I'm trying to say. I might be able to use a punch, that came out really well. A little bit of, so with the photopolymer stamps as well, sometimes because they're sticky kind of all the time, if you lift up quick like I did just there, there's a little bit of spatter that happens. So let me just flip that over and try not to lift up fast. And that's all you have to do to prevent it from happening, is just to lift up a little bit more slowly. So I'm going to press, and then what I might do is kind of start lifting up from one side and then come away. Okay, and then I don't have any of that splatter. So that's all you've got to do. And probably that splatter couldn't be seen by you on camera anyway. Well, I got some gunk on there. Well, that's why we have two sides, right? Let's see, what do I have sitting right here that I don't have to hunt for in the way of punches? I have some that are retired. This one is not. I feel like I've been using it a lot lately, though. This is the point-to-point punch that was in the spring mini catalog, and the stamp sets, I think that it went with retired, but it did not. So we can do the thing that I did last week too. It's a little tricky. So first what you do is just leave a whole bunch either at the top or the bottom. Try to center it. And then you're going to take this and you're going to turn it around and you're going to try to, and this is fiddly enough when nobody's watching, but when somebody's watching, you just know it's not going to go well. I sometimes use my Take Your Pick tool. Sometimes I use my fingers, sometimes I hit it, sometimes I shake it. And what I try to do is get it up in, okay, I'm going to try to get it out again. Yeah, I didn't say it was easy, but it's really cool, and you can do this with a lot of the punches. Okay, now I got to get it out of there, though. Could be, you know, like sometime tomorrow. Okay, and what I'm going to try to do, instead of what I was doing, is I'm going to try to slide it in and grab it and try to position it that way so I'm already closer to where I want to be. So slide it in and punch. And now what's happened is that you've made it slightly smaller so it fits better wherever it is that you're trying to fit it. Okay? And just because, so I feel like that needs something, and this is so funny, but I found one of the brass dragonflies stuck to something where it certainly did not belong the other day, and I just stuck it to a stamp case over here on the side of me, so I'm going to put that there. And who doesn't like a dragonfly, right? Okay, so we've got that. And now we've got these, which I was going to have kind of coming like that. And then back to the sticker sheet. See, I start talking and I totally forget where I was. So I'm going to grab one of these with a flower on it. And I think I want something a little bit bigger because we've got kind of a big space there to deal with. And I am going to use that. So, good grief. So the sticker sheet is sold separately, and it really is just one sheet. It's not two. But it's got a lot of stuff on it. Okay, so here's what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to put that right up there in the corner. And I think I want this a little bit lower down here. And I think I want these coming out of that, at least partially. Let's see, like that. And then one of them's a tiny bit thinner, and I think I'm going to put it further back and have it overlap or underlap, as the case may be. Okay. All right, and then what I might want to do just to be safe, except I think I already buried it. All right, never mind. You know what, I've got some washi tape. I was just going to put a little piece of tape on the back there just to kind of hold those together, even though I plan to use some dimensionals as well. I realized a while back that I had a whole little tote full of washi tape in the, we call it the attic. It's not really an attic. It's almost like a bonus room, but it doesn't have AC that goes to it. So unless you leave the door open, it gets pretty hot in the summertime. And the washi tape got a little wonky and weird and sticky, and yeah. So that was kind of unfortunate. So I'm just trying to use it up at this point. Okay, so I think I'm just going to pop everything up. That's what I think. Don't know what I did with my dimensionals, though. At least not the full-sized ones. I throw them in here. Not a clue in the world what I did with them. All right, well, we'll use the mini ones, and we'll just use more of them, that's all. Actually, the other thing that you can do with the mini dimensionals is that they have bigger edges than the bigger dimensionals, which seems a little backwards, but they do. So we'll just cut off some of those, and we won't make them too small. There we go. And now I'll put that over that little gap there so that those two banners don't fly away. And okay. And again, if you wanted to, you could do, you know, the little kind of curly thing with these and just give them a little curl with your bone folder, or your scissors, whatever you got, pencil, and just give them a little curl. All right, so we're going to put that there. I don't want to put it right up at the top because I don't want too much blank space in between. All right, and then we'll put that. Did I use these scissors instead of my, I think I did. All right, well, I usually have Teflon scissors that I use for sticky stuff, but that's what they make Goo Gone for, right? So I will just use my Goo Gone to clean my scissors. Yep, Take Your Pick tool works really well for doing this. I don't know why I didn't grab it to do that with, but that's all right. Okay, and then we'll put this here. Now, I was thinking it would be nice to perhaps wrap, you know, just do that thing where you do kind of a messy whatever. But I already made a bow, and so I think I'm just not going to do the wrap thing. Not that I couldn't use the bow someplace else. Okay, I didn't press down yet because I'm going to move it over. And because again, the dimensionals are pretty darn sticky, so once you do the press down thing, they're not very easy to get up. You can do it, but they're not easy. And then the bow I made kind of big and sloppy, so to speak, if you want to call it that. And to put the bows on, I usually use a mini glue dot, and I just kind of roll it up with my fingernail, into just a little log, so to speak. And we're just going to put that kind of at an angle. I'm going to get my finger out of there, like that. And I like that. I do like that. So I'm not going to go ahead and make this one on camera, but I probably will go ahead and make it because I don't think most people will be bothered by that. And then inside, I think I'm just going to write, you know, a personalized message to this person because that's what it should be instead of a stamped message. Sometimes you just really want to use your own words, and then sometimes you don't want to use your own words. All right, so I have the bow here, and I don't remember what I was thinking about where to put it, but I think here would be a nice place for it. So let's do that. This is the ribbon that I used last week too, I believe. It's just called Woven Ribbon. It's a 1/2 inch, and you get 10 yards of it, which is really quite a lot, unless you use it a ton. And, okay, it's 100% polyester. I was wondering what it was, because it really does look very cottony to me. But it's polyester. It's kind of an open weave, sort of. It has a definite texture to it. Yeah, there you go. You see that? It's really, you can almost see through it. Well, you can see through it. I like it a lot. That would be a ribbon that I would use a lot, and you could use your blends to color that ribbon, or you could use your re-inkers to dye that ribbon a color, and you could make it any color you want. So that's what I love about white, is that it doesn't have to be white, because we have all the things to color it with. All right, so I'll put that at a bit of an angle as well, and I think I want to get another one under there, because this one's a little bit bigger. So this is where your Take Your Pick tool does really come in handy. I don't know what I did with this last, but there's goopy stuff on it, which usually means I took a card apart for some reason. All right, so I'm going to grab that with the spatula end, and I'm just going to stick it under there, press down, and wiggle the spatula out, and the mini glue dot stays behind. And you could even glue these down if you don't like that they're sticking up, but that doesn't bother me too much. Okay, so you have news about big changes in Stampin' Up, and maybe I'll see if I can do like a PDF or something and post that just so that you can actually see it and process it for yourselves instead of having me read it to you. And there are the 2 cards for today. And I apologize, last week we made this card using the banner dies, and we made this card using the banner dies, and then I made this banner, which is the beginning of a banner that would be happy something, happy birthday, happy whatever, and I'd like to make a whole one, and I'm almost thinking that I'll make like the happy all one color, one thing, and then make different ones for birthday, anniversary, whatever I think I might need. And I did point out last week that this could be, like a little revenue stream for somebody if your friends saw something like that and said, oh, could you make me one of those for my daughter's birthday coming up? I think it would be kind of cool. And we have lots of fun children's paper that you can usually use for children's birthdays and whatnot. I did the black because I just thought the white didn't pop enough without the black in the background. All right, so that's what we made last week, and I don't even know that I posted the cards we made the week before, which was this one right here. And I definitely have to take pictures. This one is an easel card, and I thought there was another one, but I'm not seeing it here. Oh, I know why, because I sent it to someone. I think I mailed one. Oh, no, wait, here we go. If there was a third one, I sent it to someone. And then this one also using the Everyday Arches was a kind of a fun fold. Okay, so that we've been busy, but I have not been posting pictures. And tomorrow is not looking much better, to be honest with you, but I'm going to try. I don't like the lighting here tonight. When I asked Google when sunset was, and he told me it was at 8:05, I just said, oh no, summer's like almost over, and I just don't want to think about it, but it is. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching tonight. If not, catch me on the replay. Don't forget that I'm also 11 Lakes Stamper on YouTube, and you can catch my videos there as well. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and have a great night.